Hey rockers, welcome back to the newly named segment, Music Mashup. I'm here with the wonderful creator of that name, our friend, Andrew Friend, and we're talking about the backlash on Apple Music and Tidal exclusives, which have been going mainstream in the past few months. They're said to be reshaping the music industries to pull listeners from Spotify, which is the largest streaming service in the world. Wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, they're actually Sweden-based.
Sweden-based? Okay. In order to listen to new albums from popular artists like, do you know Drake?
I've heard of them a couple times.
Beyonce?
Rings a bell.
Frankie Ocean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeez?
Yeah.
Kanye West? For those who aren't informed. You must be subscribed to both Apple Music and Tidal if you want to get these new albums. So Andrew, what do you have to say about this?
You know what? You brought up a great question, and I'm glad you asked it. I think that this puts a monopoly on Tidal, puts a monopoly on Apple Music. I don't think it's fair because number one, they're like you just mentioned, you just named Drake, you named some of these big names like Ye, you know, big names that are going on. You can't listen to them anywhere else. And what I think they're primarily trying to do by that is Apple is trying to grow their monopoly. They want people to only get on iTunes and buy their music via iTunes, so they're trying to get away from the streaming. So they're like, hey, sign with us, you know, and this is how you can get away with that. And I just don't agree with it.
Sure, and especially as a fan, it's really hard to appreciate that because you have to pay this money now if you want to see a music video or a song, and you feel like if you're even interested in the music and you want to check it out, you should be able to in this day and age because we're post-Napster. We're the people that downloaded every song for free. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I never did that. I never did that, though.
I never did it either. I'm glad you said that. That's been like one of those never have I ever that I can just pull out.
I can put the finger down. Yeah. Oh, I can't put the finger down.
You don't.
Yeah,
I
keep it up.
mine up
I
too.
keep it up.
Well, good. Let's
not
just
hip
keep
on
them,
the game.
Maybe keep them up for the next question.
Yeah.
Also, with labels, due to labels not making as much money as they were in the CD era, and Apple Music is providing the artists and labels with that alternative revenue, a new way to make money and be exclusive. So do you think this is Apple's way of getting listeners back from Spotify since it's such an easy thing to access?
Yes, I think you hit the nail right on the head with that. Yeah, what they're trying to do is they're getting people away from using those kinds of platforms. They don't want people to stream their music. They want people to buy their music via iTunes, or at least that's what I think, at least with Apple Music, what they're trying to do by getting these big names and practically pulling them off the shelf and saying Spotify can't use them. They didn't sign with us. They didn't sign with Spotify. They signed with us, so now you can't listen to them. A lot of people like Drake. A lot of people like Ye.
And speaking of Frank Ocean, he had a music video for every song, but it happened to only be on Apple. So it's like, if I am a fan of an artist and he's putting out a music video for every single song, you're making me question my morality of paying or illegally finding that. Like,
and that was the same thing that happened with Beyonce's album Lemonade. You couldn't find it other than I think it was one of the two, Apple Music or Tidal. Which is really unfortunate that they're trying to do that to Spotify. But, you know, like we said before, Apple is trying to build their monopoly and trying to, I guess, bully around the smaller companies.
And if you're working for a monopoly, I'm sure you're doing pretty well off for all your CD releases.
Yes.
We have Kanye, Frank Ocean, Beyonce, and Drake, the people that you hear about everywhere you go.
Yes.
And Lady Gaga was also in the news in September. She was the biggest star to come out against these exclusives. She said, I told my label that if they signed those contracts with Apple Music and Tidal, I'd leak my own music. So do you think this is driving a wedge, not only between Lady Gaga and her label, but other artists and their labels as well?
I think it is. Number one, she said that she's going to leak her music. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with her leaking her music. I understand what she was trying to do, and I admire her for that. But I don't agree with what she was trying to accomplish. Because number one, that takes away from, you know, obviously her label. That takes away from.
Now I'm talking to a PR guy. Now I'm talking to the promotions guy of IRB.
Yeah. It takes away from the small people's money. They might not make as much. They definitely don't make as much as her, and they need their money too. Leaking that music detracts them from making their money.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And it's like just this out of the blue decision to do it, and there's so many people backing you and how it's going to come out and when to wait, and it's just a bummer that that's an issue now.
Exactly. That really is.
So this is the new reality for music listeners. Do you think this way of getting your music will last?
Max, I think it will. And the reason being is because Apple is such a, it's a big name, it's a huge name. Whether you like it, whether you don't, it doesn't matter, because they have built themselves up to this huge esteem that now, like, nobody can defeat them, and that's the shame. Like, Spotify can go toe to toe up with Apple, and they will never win. They just won't, because of the fact that Apple Music is so up there that I think it'll stay.
In everything, in apps, in music, in computers, technology.
Because of the monopoly that they've already built. It's there now, and you can't destroy it.
Right.
Yeah. Once a building's built, you can't destroy it, and their building is built.
Yes.
It's Trump Towers, baby. Yeah.
It's a big thing to look on in the future, the way music's going to be held and handled, and the way fans are going to pay for it, and maybe record labels are going to change. But we wanted to know your opinion too, so we on Twitter asked which you preferred, Spotify or Apple Music and Tidal exclusives. So I'm not going to tell you, but go check out that poll at IRB TV and see what the results are. Thank you, Andrew, for coming. After this commercial break, we will be back with Jasmine Crespo for Check This Out. See y'all next week.